Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everybody. I am Connor. In case you don't already know, I'm excited to see y'all and to talk to y'all. Today is probably going to be my most favorite video that I've ever made and that I ever will make. Well, not ever will make, but it is the start to what I believe is going to be a very fun and exciting series. And before you ask, yes, I did get a haircut and I dyed my hair a little bit lighter. Thank you for asking. It is, I love the way that it looks. It's really fun. I got it in time for Fashion Weeks, which, well, that's a whole nother story about whether or not I'm gonna make it this year, but that'll kind of be explained in this video. I am very happy about it. Shout out Aunt Susan if you see this. Amazing work as always. Killed it, knocked it out of the park. Love it. It's spectacular, spectacular. Now let's get into the actual topic of today's video, which is my journey starting a clothing brand. And typically I feel like people do this video once they're like maybe established, but this is gonna be more of me while I'm doing it because I'm still very, very early on in the process. I do like actually have the brand and stuff like that, but it is, like I said, very early, and man, there's already so many challenges and so many stories. And so I'm basically gonna this is gonna be probably not a short video because so much has happened. This is basically the last year of my life with this brand, and a lot of it was waiting, but man, the parts where things happened, there was a lot happening. Okay, like so much happening, my head was spinning. I actually spent this whole morning, the reason why I actually made this video is because yesterday I had a meeting with my manager, or why I'm making this video. Yesterday I had a meeting with my manager and he said, oh, you should talk to your YouTube audience about like your process starting a clothing brand. And I was like, that's actually a great idea. That'd be really fun to share. And hopefully people get something out of this. They can maybe pursue their dreams themselves, or they can, you know, avoid some pitfalls that I've hit, or we'll just see along the way as I'm building this brand, right? And then funny enough, today, this morning, this is the day after the meeting, I got hit with some crazy news. And I spent the last 4 hours basically freaking out, panicking, calling my dad to get his advice and just trying to think and calm down and just rationalize and process my next steps. This is going to be the fun story of my whole clothing brand. Let's get into it. Roll the intro. Psych, there's no intro. I'll have one of those one day. Actually, I was thinking about having a contest to make an intro, you know, which would be really fun. I think it would just be really funny, but we'll do that for another day. We'll save that for another day. For now, clothing brand, I have to start talking about it. And I also have my wonderful computer here because I have some notes so that just so I can remember everything. And no, this is not sponsored by Mad Happy. I just realized that, you know, I got a lot of stuff for them. I do love them, but that's not the point. Anyways, I digress. Talking too much. So I own and operate, well, operate is a little bit of a maybe too gracious. I currently own and am trying to begin operating a brand called Ricky Maru. A little backstory on the brand and the actual name itself. My grandpa and my grandma's last name was Ricky Maru. My mom's maiden name is Ricky Maru. My grandparents and my great grandparents came over from Japan, so it's a Japanese name, and it's fully like one word. Like Ricky Maru is one word, and I just split it into Ricky and Maru because I felt like it fit as more of like a name. Frankly, as far as the brand goes, I'll have probably a different video maybe explaining more about like the brand and my vision in another future video. But as far as the brand goes right now, oh my gosh, I'm like, I keep cutting out these segments, but I keep like burping and hiccuping. I don't know why I'm so like gassy right now. Basically, I want the brand to be kind of a higher end, maybe designer level brand one day. This is probably a little bit far off in the future once I've learned and done more things, but I just liked Ricky Maru as more of two words because it just sounds more designer to me. And it's also an homage to obviously my background, my history, my family, because Ricky Maru actually, it's funny, a little bit of my family tree. My grandparents had 3 kids, 2 of whom were daughters, so obviously the last name doesn't carry over, and then they had 1 son, and that son only had daughters. So my middle name is actually Ricky Maru, and so is my sister's, so like the name kind of continues through that, but like the actual name itself is kind of going to disappear after all of us do. And so I was like, I want their legacy to live on. What better way to do that through making something that could live on past my expiration date, you know? So with that little backstory out of the way, let me just, or I guess that kind of explanation of the brand's name out of the way, let me go ahead and give you some of the backstory on this. About a few years ago, I really started getting into fashion. I started realizing, hey, this is something I'm passionate about, something I'm good at, something that I like. And then after a while that I thought, you know what, it would be really, really fun to design my own clothes. Like, I think that'd be really cool. I have so many ideas for things that I want that I can't find, that it would just be cool if I could just make those things myself. And that was kind of a pipe dream. I was working like 2 or 3 jobs, mostly in the wedding industry. And so it was just kind of like, it would be cool. It's a fun thought, but let's be real. That's never going to happen. It's just a dream, right? It's a dream. That's probably not where my life's headed. Fast forward a few years later, this is about a little over a year ago, probably a year and a half ago from today. And I start posting some videos on TikTok, and then all of a sudden, a couple of them do like really, really crazy good. They just blow up, and all of a sudden, overnight, I literally within one probably week, probably within a few days, I went from maybe like 1,000 followers, maybe a couple thousand, to 30,000 followers. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have an audience. This is crazy. So fast forward the next like 6, 7, 8 months, I'm just posting on TikTok. It's fun. I'm having a great time. It's super enjoyable. I'm loving it. This is actually, yeah, probably about a year and a half ago. And then people start asking me when I'm going to start making my own clothes and releasing my own clothes. Because at the time, it started becoming really popular that people with an audience would start to build their own clothing brands and do that stuff. So people were asking me like, hey, can you release your own clothes? Like, I love your style. I want you to release your own pieces. And I was like, oh, haha, funny. Like, like realistically, that's like kind of scary. That's tough. I wouldn't even know the first thing. Like, I wouldn't know how to begin to even start to do that. And so it's kind of like, oh, haha. And then people kept asking me over the course of the next few months. Eventually, I had like a light bulb moment, like a ball drop moment, not ball drop, a pin drop moment. Well, I guess ball drop is a saying. It's kind of an innuendo saying. I don't know if YouTube will allow. Okay, anyways, so I had just this light bulb moment, and I was basically like, oh my gosh, I'm in this place where I have a huge audience who loves my content, loves my clothes, loves my sense of style. I'm making money off of TikTok enough to possibly be able to afford something. I have all the connections I could ever need to other influencers, to factories, to people who are actively doing this right now. I'm in the perfect spot to do this. Why would I not do this? And so I remember being really scared. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like once it became a reality where I was like, this is actually a possible reality. I got really scared because it was like, this could change my life, and it could also be really difficult. It could be amazing. It could be awful. It could succeed. It could fail. I don't know. I remember talking to a bunch of my friends, to my parents, my family, run everything by my parents. And eventually I just came to the conclusion that I was like, you know what? I'm just going to announce that I'm starting a clothing brand, and I'm going to hold myself accountable, because if I don't announce that, then it'll never happen. I'll never do it. And I want this. The pros outweigh the cons of this, right? I can achieve my dream. It's just scary. And frankly, I just have to not be a little baby, and I just have to get over that fear. So I made an announcement on my Instagram. One day my best friend was in town visiting, and he's a videographer, a director. And so he filmed a cool little intro video for my brand. And I just shot the announcement out there, and I just said, you know what, y'all, I'm making a brand. Everybody I got so much support for it. People loved it. They were so stoked. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is happening. Over the next like little while, I'm just getting hounded with people saying like, when's the first thing coming out? What are you doing? Like, updates on the brand? And frankly, for like the next like 3 months, I was like, I have no updates. I'm still trying to figure out how to do this. I don't know how to get clothes manufactured. I don't know how to design clothes. I don't know what I'm doing at all. Introduce Cam Daly. Now, Cam Daly is, I'd say now a friend of mine. He's amazing. And he's basically, I mean, I couldn't do this clothing brand without him. But funny enough, what ended up happening is Cam runs his own brand called Aaron Studios. And he actually had a brand before this that I used to follow, and I didn't even know it was his brand. Cam ended up actually sending me one of his products, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's a work jacket. Actually, let me go show you. I might as well, like, I'm learning that I have to be more like visual here. I have to like show you guys the things that I'm talking about. Let me go grab it for you. This is the work jacket that Cam made. It is so cool. It's like a Carhartt inspired, I'd say, probably. Like, it's just a workwear jacket. Got a cool graphic on the back. Great. Like, it's very, very well made, and I just loved everything about it. It's also reversible. This interior red lining, you can see, like, you can flip it inside out and wear it that way if you want. I was thoroughly impressed with those products. I'd seen some of his stuff before, and that's how I had heard of him, is I'd seen some of his TikToks before, and I was like, wow, like this guy's stuff is really, really cool. And then he ended up sending me that work jacket, and I was like, wow, this is actually crazy well made too. It ended up being one of my daily work jackets on my way to and from work, because it was cold. It was the middle of winter. And so I ended up just making a video on it, because I was like, hey, I've got this video from a buddy, and I got this video. I got this jacket from a buddy, and I love it. It's so great. And that video ended up doing really, really well. Like that video like went stupid crazy on TikTok, and I ended up selling him a bunch of jackets and ended up helping him out. And he was just like thankful for me that I had made that video, and you know, just like just completely out of the blue. It wasn't like he sent that to me asking me to make a video. He just sent it asking if I wanted it. He was like, if there's anything that I can do to help you out, let me know. And I was like, funny you should say that. This thing is made so well. I'm trying to start my own clothing brand. I have no clue what to do. Like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing at all. Right? I'm square one. I know I've said I'm gonna start a clothing brand, but realistically, what do I do? Actually, I don't think I even told Cam this, so if Cam sees this, it's gonna be funny. But out of nowhere, he starts talking to me like he's just gonna help me do everything. Like he's just gonna help me design and get the products manufactured. Like it was just a done deal. Like we had already handshake on it. I was like, whoa. Like I was like, at first I was just like, can you help me make a tech pack? I don't know how to make a tech pack, and then from there I can figure it out. And his response to can you help me make a tech pack was just, yeah, after I make the tech pack for you, we'll go to manufacturers, then I'll help you do this, and then I have partners, and we can get this made, and we'll go through this. And I was like, oh my god. I was like, are you running product development for me? I guess I was like, thank you. Long story short, he ended up becoming basically, I guess, my first product developer, and he's helping me out with all these products, and he's probably gonna help me out for as long as forever, I guess. Actually, one more thing I should say is he actually ended up being in LA, living there for a while, and we met in person, and I just got a really great vibe from him. I was just like, I can trust this guy. He makes great products. He's really cool. He's talking like he's already gonna help me out. It genuinely felt like a gift from God. I was just like, wow, this is amazing. This is just everything that I needed. Everything that I didn't know how to do just came into my life in the form of one person, and I was like ecstatic. The reason why I mentioned that is because none of what is happening with my brand would be possible. Oops, sorry, I'm kind of flashing you guys with the reflection. None of what my brand is doing would be anywhere close to possible without Cam. So he is an integral part of my brand's journey, and my brand story is finding Cam to help me out and make this stuff. Let me go grab my bag, because after I had met Cam, I started drawing, or briefly right before I met Cam, I had started drawing designs, because I was like, you know what, if I'm gonna have a clothing brand, I'm gonna start, you know, designing clothes. I don't want to just put graphics on a t-shirt. I want to design and make things. I want like to go through the full process of like, this doesn't exist and then I made it. I'm not a huge, this is ironic because I'm wearing, you know, this big like graphic, which is sewn on. Actually, it's really cool. It's sewn on and it's not printed, but I'm more of like clothes and how they're constructed and made, not so much like the big graphics, like the streetwear stuff. I wanted to have like something akin to like a designer label brand where they're actively designing clothes and like putting it down a runway, and they're making stuff, you know, and I'm not on that level. I don't know if I'll ever necessarily be at that level personally, because I just don't have the background. I hope that one day I can learn enough to do that. Right now I'm not there. That being said, I ended up trying to find some different stuff on like to help me design. So I got a couple books actually. Let me show you. I have some of them on my bookshelf over here, actually, my little makeshift bookshelf. So I ended up getting a few books, just some stuff that had some good reviews, because frankly I had no clue what to do. So the first thing I got was this Fashionpedia thing from Fashionary, and I basically got this because it kind of just shows you like different pieces of clothing. Oh, that's actually eyes, I think. But this is like, for example, like belts. These are just like different type of industry belts that they design. And these are like, it'll show you like different types of pants or shirts, just different cuts, different styles. I didn't know really any of this. So I was just going through, like, these are all just a bunch of different kinds of shirts and how they're designed and stuff. And I didn't know this. So I was like, you know, it'd just be helpful to have a visual guide for me when I'm drawing things out, because I know how to draw things out that I want to make. I just don't know the terms for them or like the different possibilities. So like that was really helpful in that area. I also got this one, the Textilepedia. This is just basically, or let me show you the front, the Textilepedia, also from Fashionary. I really like this company. I like the way that they kind of like lay everything out. But basically this just showed me like a bunch of different textiles, a bunch of different like weaves, how fabrics are made, just stuff like that. It just kind of gave me a little more insight into different like fibers and different, you know, just different things in the realm of textiles, which I also knew nothing about. So I was just like, oh, it's just helpful for me to have a visual guide on that. And then lastly, I got this one. This was the Fashion Business Manual, also from Fashionary. Like I said, I really liked their products. I thought they were really cool, really well made. They basically just gave like a guide on like running a fashion business, right? And it's obviously, it's maybe, I don't want to say dated, but it just does give some great like background knowledge, and it just helped me to kind of at least put some kind of foundations for a framework. So at least I didn't know nothing. I kind of at least knew the things that I didn't know and that I needed to learn, and the things I needed to know. So then with all that, I ended up buying this little book. This is like it's called, oh, it's also from Fashion Area. I didn't even realize that. Funny. I probably just bought it in like a bundle. But this is I think like a Memno pad, or I don't know. I think there's a term for it. I don't actually remember. I'm not gonna show you everything that I designed in here because, you know, that'd be not smart. But it has like these little, I don't know if you can see. Okay, so you maybe can't really tell, but it has like the outline of people, so it just kind of helps me to like, you know, draw my designs around like what a human person is. And so I started drawing designs, and then I'll show you a couple of my first designs. I wasn't really sure what I was doing, but I just like briefly drew like a sweater in there. I was like, I have an idea for a cable knit turtleneck that I really want to make. I'll just write it down. It's just a place where I can have a visual idea of something that I like. And I just kind of drew it, just some like little writing on it. And it's funny. I actually, yes, I do write in only cursive. But for instance, on this, I have it labeled as cable knit turtleneck. I have something that says cobalt blue / purple. That was the color because I had a very vivid idea of the color that I wanted in my head. So I just wrote that down to remember it. And then I have written here wool / cashmere blend, because at the time I had found a wool sweater that was cashmere with a cashmere blend and I loved it. It says new logo slides / location / front neck or something like that. I actually can't read my own writing. I don't even know what that means, but at the time I'm sure it was important. And then I drew up a couple more designs for different things that I wanted in here. And then I'll also show you this one, and I'll show you why I'm showing these later. Wink, wink. But then I also had an idea for some wool pleated trousers that I want. Sorry, this pair of pants is kind of bleeding through. But yeah, so you can see I had an idea. This is kind of like the plaid that I was going for. I wanted just some plaid, like some wool trousers, like 100% wool, because I'm big into natural materials. I like the natural fibers. I think they're really good. Originally, I wanted a side pleat on them because I saw a pair of pants that I liked like that. Contrast stitch for slight pinstripe. That was just my original idea. Plaid pattern, some different colors. I also wrote lined because I hate the feeling of wool, so it was important to me that they were lined. And then I had some designs for the back pockets, just some different like kind of shapes and stuff overall that I wanted on the back pocket. As time goes on, my designs maybe get a little better, or maybe not. Maybe not. I don't really know. It's kind of just spitballing, whatever. I don't know if they're really any of them are that good, but I basically continue on with that theme. I bought I bought just like a big pack of colored pencils, like one of those classic ones. It's really funny. I love drawing my designs, but I digress. But the reason why I bring that up is because that is part of the process that I believe is crucial to my brand, is being able to draw up things that I like and being able to say like, oh, this is like in my brain, and now it's like at least on a page. It helps me personally to realize like, hey, this is something I like, and maybe here's some of the ideas I have behind it. I feel like I like that better than just like typing into my notes, because I have like 50 pages of notes of different designs, different ideas, different stuff like that, but it doesn't really feel like it becomes like a tangible possible product until like I actually have it drawn down and I have it actually designed into something, you know? And then from there, Cam helped me, you know, pick out the different products and like kind of start to get them developed. And so the reason why I showed you those designs is because I had drawn up those designs, and I met with Cam and I said, hey, these are my two big ideas. These are things that I really, really want to start my brand off with. I think they really encapsulate me well and things that I really enjoy. And so I worked with Cam. It takes a couple of months. He helps make up tech packs. I get measurements. I go through swatches and swatches of fabric. Actually, whoa, did my screen just get darker? That was weird. I swear that always happens to me. Anyways, I'll show some of the swatches. So I'll cut out some photos and throw them over here. But I go through like a bunch of different swatches, different fabrics, just different stuff that I'm like debating between. And it's a crazy process. So when I'm working with him, just to kind of explain some of the behind the scenes of how like products, I guess I'm learning how they're made, at least in this. And I'm sure there's no one size fits all. I'm sure people do it differently. But I'm making a tech pack, and then I'm giving him the measurements. I'm giving him the designs, all the details, the materials that I want. We're going through fabric swatches to pick out the ones that look the best, the ones that I like the most. Eventually, it comes down to products, and I'm not going to show all the iterations of the products because there's just so many. It would just be, I can put that in another video if you really want to see all of them. But suffice to say, I go through multiple rounds of both products that I showed you, and it took so much time and effort and so much little detailing, but I end up coming out with this for the pair of pants, right? And this is, I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic with the way these turned out. These are the Kazu trousers. This is the first official item that my brand has released. They are a 100% Japanese wool. They're also lined on the inside with this like viscose material, so they're super comfortable. Like they genuinely feel like sweatpants. Super nice. We got a button fly, which I really like button flies. They have a small RM embroidered onto this belt loop because I'm not a big like branding fan. It has its time and place, but the big logos aren't really like the direction that I'm going with the brand. They'll have their time and place, like I said, but just not like most of the times. And then they have this obviously like very wide straight leg fit, which is very much this kind of stuff that I like to wear. So I went through so many design iterations. These pleats, for instance, these used to be like really small. I had them make them way bigger. I had them change the button fly. I had them change just the way they did the lining. I felt like wasn't up to my standards when I first saw them, and so I just made them clean it up a little bit. And so we came up with that, and frankly, I am thrilled and so proud of those. We also did this one, the Connie sweater. This is, as you can see, so these came from those sketches that I just saw, that I just showed you. These are the final iterations, and again, both of them went through probably like 5 or 6 different samples. But this is the Connie cable knit turtleneck. If you would like to see me wearing these or see examples of these on, please feel free to go to my Instagram, my brand's Instagram page, and check them out there. If you'd like to hear more about them, about the construction, a lot of that stuff is over on like the reels and stuff there. I just don't have like all the time to this video is already going to be super long, so I just don't have all the time to explain everything. But just real quick, this is a wool cashmere blend. It's super soft. It comes with this beautiful contrast stitch that I really wanted. It's also got that contrast stitch right here. It's got an RM embroidered, another just small like little logo thing, and frankly it came out so amazing, just so much better than I could have like ever even asked or dreamed. And while I got you here, I will say that since this video is releasing on Sunday, January 19th, I am actually releasing the pants this Friday, January 24th at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you'd like to keep updated with that, again, go follow my brand's Instagram page and I'll have more updates there. We're also doing a pre-order for the Connie sweater, more information and details there, but I am super stoked. Again, all this is possible just because of TikTok and because of people like y'all, and I have to pause to say thank you so much to everyone who supports me, because I mean, these are my dreams happening in real time. Like, you're watching my dreams happen right now, and it's surreal, it's crazy, and I'm just thankful and blessed. So to move on, we have to backtrack a little bit, right? So in the middle of getting all these developed, these final products, the pants the final iteration was in December, and then the final iteration of the sweater was actually like, I think a couple weeks ago in January, like the first or second week of January. But I have to backtrack to November. So November is when I decided to do a pre-order, because I'm realizing, oh my gosh, I don't actually have the money to fund this stuff because everything is so freaking expensive. Holy crap, it's so expensive. Yo, like, this stuff is so expensive. I'm still, my jaw's on the floor. It's ridiculous. But we get to November and I'm thinking, you know what? Let me ask these people if they want to pre-order, because I get the pants and I love them, and I'm posting about them. Like, I've got the final sample, they're amazing. And people are saying, pre-order, do a pre-order. And I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe I should. So I run a poll on my Instagram, I run a poll on my TikTok, I post videos asking, and there's overwhelming support of people wanting a pre-order. And I'm like, wow, okay, I guess I'll do a pre-order for y'all. I wasn't planning on it, but I wanted to do in hand because I felt more comfortable having them in my hand, being able to quality control them before sending them out. But people wanted a pre-order, so I said, you know what, let me just do it, I'll figure it out. I announced that we're having a pre-order for about 2 weeks later. My life gets crazy busy. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I ended up getting super stressed. It was insane. I don't have time to do anything for the brand until about like 3 days before I had announced what the pre-order was. Pre-order was, I think, on some Friday. It was going to be run like Friday to Sunday, like the 3rd week in November. It's not important. Literally the Tuesday before that Friday, I finally get time to actually start planning this, and I'm stressed out of my mind because I'm like, I don't have time to do this. I don't have a website. I don't have a business. I have literally nothing for this. Okay, so I'm freaking out because I've announced that I'm releasing clothes, but I have nothing planned for the next 3 days straight. I literally, maybe over 12 hours a day. Over 12 hours a day, I'm in Shopify, trying to learn Shopify, trying to learn how to build the website. I have friends, thankfully, who use Shopify and are very successful entrepreneurs who have their own businesses. They're giving me the rundown on everything. I am stressing out. I'm berating ChatGPT to help me understand Shopify and how to do stuff. In 3 days, I build out a full website. I do a product shoot for my pants. I learn how to sell things. I'm setting up all these things that I don't even remember now. I was so stressed that I actually broke out like an acne for the first time in forever because I was so stressed. I end up like hobbling together a website at the last minute. I throw it up and I'm just hoping for like, I don't want to say the exact amount, but I'm hoping for like X amount of sales. I'm like, if I could just do this, it would be worth it. I would have enough to cover the vast majority of what I don't have in terms of like funding the purchase order for this stuff, right? I end up selling triple that, and my jaw is on the floor. I end up passing the number that I I want within like, I don't know, like 20 or 30 minutes. And then like after that, it was pretty slow for the rest of the weekend, which I'm not complaining about, because in that first like 20 minutes, I passed the number, I passed my goal. And I was like, this is absolutely insane. The elation that I felt, like the joy, the thankfulness, I was blown away. I couldn't believe, like, this is my clothing brand. And it was finally becoming tangible. It wasn't just I'm planning something. It was, oh my God, this is happening. This is not only happening, this happened. This is it. And it was so trippy to me, y'all. Like I remember just like, it was surreal. It was so surreal. It felt like an out of body experience. I was like, not only is this happening, but people like my clothes. Like I was just, I couldn't believe it. People liked something that I had designed. And that was like a crazy feeling of like, wow, these are pants that I put work into, and people want them, and people are asking for them. And just, I could talk about that forever. It was one of the craziest feelings I've ever experienced in my life. And even to this day, I'm so grateful. I'm going to start crying if I think about it too much. So I gotta not talk about that as much right now. Suffice to say, I sold a tremendous number, and I was super grateful. I was super thankful. And so I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I put in the purchase order that funded the entire purchase order. I felt it funded the deposit for that, and then the packaging, because I have some special packaging that I'm not going to show here because I want it to be a surprise for the people who get the stuff when they get it. It's not the craziest thing in the world, but I really love it, so I'm excited. That being said, I just have to play the waiting game. I put the purchase order in, and now I have to wait until January. End of January is when they quoted me, which is in this 2-week time period. Now I just play the waiting game. I don't really have anything else to do. It's stressful because I've sold so much money worth of product, and I don't actually have the product. I can't fulfill it. So now I'm a little bit stressed about that. And I know that stress is not going to go away until I actually ship those pre-orders, until I know that they're fulfilled. So I'm just playing this stressful waiting game. And then of course, when you're starting a business, nothing can ever go right. Everything always has to go wrong. And that's what running a business is everything goes wrong, and you just got to figure out how to deal with it, how to get past it and move on. I get the confirmation, and I'm talking to my product developer, to Cam, and all of a sudden it comes out, or we realize that the lining was not the original material that we had decided on and what we had said. And they had already gone into production. They had already made the pants, or they're already well into making the pants. Originally, I wanted to do 100% organic material. So the lining was supposed to be a cotton material, and it was great. It felt great. If I'd known more about clothes, I probably would have realized that the sample that they sent was actually not cotton, but they had told us it was cotton because they thought it was cotton, and they thought we were on the same page. Something happens to where I realized that the lining that they use is not actually cotton, but a viscose. And viscose is still great. It's insanely comfortable. It's a semi-synthetic though, which was the main problem. Is I had advertised these very, very adamantly about these being 100% cotton, 100% organic materials, the whole thing. That was a big selling point for me because that was something I was proud of, is that they were 100% natural fibers. And so when I found out they were viscose, I was like, oh my gosh, well, I just falsely sold all these people these pants under the assumption that they were 100% natural. They were made of cotton lining. I mean, they're amazing pants. The lining's amazing. It feels amazing. It's great. I love it. It's just not the material that they had originally told us. And so that was just a miscommunication on their part. We had confirmed cotton. They thought it was cotton, and it turned out they said, oops, sorry, we use viscose actually. And so now I'm hit with a dilemma. Do I just go forward with this, and do I just like not tell people, or do I tell people, or what do I do? What are my options here, right? So I'm stressing out. Again, I talk to my friends. I call my parents up because again, I tell my parents everything. Also, sorry, this is going to start to get really, really bright and annoying right here. I'm going to try to block it with my computer. So now I'm faced with this dilemma, and basically after a lot of debate about my options, what to do, I landed on the policy of honesty being the best policy. I wanted to be very transparent, very upfront with the people. So I sent out a mass email to everybody who had ordered the pants, telling them that, hey, sorry about this is what happened, and just explaining the whole situation. And then some of the emails didn't go through, so I actually posted a video about it on my TikTok and on my brand's Instagram page, just to kind of be transparent, just to let everybody know what had happened and about this unforeseen change that had happened in the pants. And I gave everybody the option to cancel. I said, I totally understand if this changes your desire for the pants. You can completely cancel your order. I'll refund you immediately if that's what you want. I was terrified. I thought that I was going to lose all my sales, and that this was, just going to be the end of me, right? All in all, only I think 10 people ended up canceling, which was frankly not a lot. I was expecting half these people to refund their orders, but so many people were like, hey, it doesn't matter. I just love the design. I just want what you made. And the support, despite the fact of this big outrageous screw up was crazy. And that just showed me like, hey, as long as you're honest, like mistakes happen, things happen outside of your control. That was just a really big lesson to me really, really early on, even though this was just like a month ago, of just being upfront with people and just saying, hey, this is the fact, I'm sorry. And then just giving people the option of what they want to do, right? You'll see me that influencing my brand later on is now I just know if things happen, I'm just going to be transparent. And if the consequences are bad, then they're bad. I'll deal with them. If they're not as bad as I think, then I'll still deal with them. It doesn't really matter, right? So we figure that out. I cancel the orders that need to be canceled. Everybody else still happy about their orders. We come to January, I get the final samples in for the sweater. And this is kind of where we're at today, right? This is the reason why I'm making this video today, is because today I finally got the final purchase order for this. And I also got the final purchase order for the pants. And this is really some of the real like reality of starting a brand and where I am. And this is going to be very vulnerable and very transparent with my finances, I guess. And I don't know how people will feel about this, but we'll say it anyways. Again, in the light of transparency, when I had originally done the pre-order, I needed the capital from the pre-order to actually fund the order itself, right? Because I didn't have enough capital saved because I had a lot of financial issues beforehand, just some unforeseen things like my car breaking down and just all this other stuff that like it really washed me, and frankly I just didn't have the money to fund this. So I did the pre-order kind of funds the front end of everything, right? And keep in mind I'm doing deposits for everything, so I'm paying half of it up front. Pre-order funds all that, and it also helps me to catch up on all my bills, all my finances, all the stuff that like really would have completely financially screwed me if I had not paid it down. This is funny. This is where like life comes into play. I make most of my money doing brand deals on TikTok, right? And so I have all the stuff that I'm expecting to get paid by the end of December, and it doesn't come through in December. And so I think that's fine. It'll come through in January. I'll just have my management company send it. It's whatever. And that will be enough for me to fund the back end, the second half of the deposits for these. Well, now that TikTok gets banned, my brand deals are falling through. I'm waiting on payments that I'm not getting paid. And all this kind of culminates to this last week is basically I'm trying to find out if I'm getting laid off from my job, right? TikTok is getting banned, and so I make my income through TikTok primarily. Not only that, but I do my marketing and my advertising through TikTok. And so I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'll get back to the marketing in a second, but TikTok is getting banned. I'm basically this past week, and I'm just in the process of finding out, am I getting laid off or not? That's basically what it is am I getting laid off? And I can go back to another job. However, I'm just, it's stressful to not know whether or not you're going to have a job at the end of the week. And I literally just quit my job to be a full-time content creator back in like August. So this is still like new to me. I'm still settling in. That's happening. And now all of a sudden I don't have the finances. And today, this morning that I'm filming this video, I get the final purchase order for the pants and the final purchase order for the sweaters. And I do not nearly have enough of the money. Nothing, right? And I can't get these pants to me to be able to ship the pre-orders or actually sell the product out of like hand, like actually in stock inventory, unless I have the money to pay them to get the pants over to me. And the only way for me to get that money is for me to sell the pants. So now I'm in this predicament of I need the pants to buy the pants. I need to sell the pants to buy the pants to sell them. You see what I'm saying? You see that like little paradoxical cycle right there? So I'm stressed because this is happening. And also at the same time, I have this wool cashmere sweater where if I don't pay for this and I don't get production started soon, I'm not going to get these until like March. And if every day I delay, it's a day later. And eventually it's going to come to the point where who's going to buy a wool cashmere sweater if I'm trying to sell them in July or August, right? I'm scrambling for all that. And this is my thought process as of like 3 or 4 hours ago. I'm freaking out. I'm incredibly stressed. I called my dad. I called my dad for a while. I'm trying to figure out what to do. In hindsight, it's funny because it seems as though it is working out. But again, it was one of those stressful things where I'm just like, okay, like now that all this fear and this anxiety's hit me, I have to put that to the side. I have to be rational and I have to come up with a plan on how to deal with this, how to figure this out, because that's what running a business and starting a fashion or clothing brand, any business in general, but a clothing brand too, is what I'm doing. Obviously, that's what you have to do is challenges and hardships come up, but you have to figure out how to get over that fear, get over that anxiety, put that on the side and say, okay, how do I fix this problem? How do I tackle this? So I end up calling my manager, seeing what deals I can like get my money from early, see if my management will release some of those payments to me, just trying to figure that out when that can happen. I'm trying to timeline out how long it's going to take for these sweaters to get manufactured and how long the ship time is going to be. see, because I'm trying to figure out, am I gonna release these pants this Friday because they'll arrive to me within like this week, even though I don't have money for that. I'm trying to figure out when's the latest I can pay for the sweaters to ensure they get here at a reasonable time to sell them. And so I'm trying to game plan all of this, right? And it's crazy. I end up talking through ship times with my buddy Cam. I end up talking through this whole thing with my dad, and I finally decided on the best course of action. And this is what we're going with, and this is what I was saying earlier in the video. But the best course of action that I think I realized for this is I'm gonna use my last day of TikTok, because let me say this too. Again, this is, you know, funny dealing with problems. TikTok getting banned is huge because TikTok was my primary marketing platform, right? That's where I had all my followers. That's where most of my demand came from. So losing TikTok, this is actually a problem I'm gonna have to deal with in the future. So I haven't even dealt with this. I don't even know what I'm gonna do yet. TikTok going down means no more marketing. So I figured, you know what? I'm filming this on Friday, Friday the 17th. This is Friday the 17th. I figured, you know what? I have one more day of TikTok, one singular day. I'm gonna put out that I'm gonna use my last day to see if I can gain any more support for this. Try to see if I can drive any traffic to my other channels. That way, you know, I still have some support for the brand, because that's what I want to do with my life. I don't want to do content creation with my life. I want to run a clothing brand. That's what my desire is. I'm just using tomorrow, or well, I guess yesterday actually, to post one last video on TikTok, hopefully drive all the people over that I can, and just pray that that works out, and then just start running my brand through Instagram and hope that the Instagram avenue works out for me there. That's basically my last ditch effort, is to hopefully drive as many people from there to the business page as I can. And obviously I'm going to keep promoting this through YouTube. And actually that brings me to my point, is I think this will be a fun series. It'll be a little inconsistent because I won't always have updates. There's typically with the brand, actually, it's just a lot of waiting in between like big moments. It's just like a lot of like nothing happens between when it happens. But I am going to start a series where I am updating y'all on YouTube about the brand, about just different things that have happened, just different updates. And if there is anything you want to see specifically about the brand, or anything you want me to elaborate on, feel free to let me know. I'd love to put that in another video for this series. Just let me know what you want to know about the brand, and I'll let you know. But that being said, yeah, I'm trying to figure out new ways to market and to advertise. And I think that being able to show you all my brand on YouTube and on my Instagram is going to be really fun. And I'm excited. I'm very sad that TikTok's going, because it's going to be hugely detrimental to my brand and to my dream. But that being said, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to quit. I'm sure that there's other avenues. And so, yeah, those are the real challenges that I'm facing today as a clothing brand owner. And after I end this video, I'm going to go to work on and hopefully figure out. That is basically, I guess, the story of where I am with this clothing brand and the journey so far to building it. I know that the stuff I was saying about today, about the finances and about what was I talking about? Oh, and about the marketing are a little bit nebulous, right? There's not a lot of information. There's not really a lot that I said, but that's because I'm like actively figuring it out right now, and it's still kind of confusing to me, and I haven't even fully processed it yet. So I don't even really have an answer of what even just happened and what I'm doing about it. I'm figuring this out as I go right now, right? I'm you know, like almost as much as I do in this case, right? So yeah, that is my current journey running a clothing brand. And despite all the struggles, all the hardships, all the craziness, all the stress, all the tough parts, all of this crazy difficult stuff, I basically, if this job doesn't go well, I mean, to be completely honest with you, I don't pay my credit card bill, and I don't pay my rent, and I don't have food next month if this job doesn't go well. I'm putting all my eggs into this because it's what I want to do. It's my dream, and it's what I love, and frankly, that's worth it. That's worth the risk. That's worth the scariness of, will I be able to finance my life? And that's kind of what it takes, I guess, to run a clothing brand, is to just be able to risk it and say, you know what, if I succeed, I succeed. If I don't, then I'll find a good bridge to sleep under, I guess. But it really is all worth it. I mean, just even seeing the clothes, being able to wear them out of the house, being able to know like this came from my design and this is something that I dreamed up. It's that alone is already worth it. The support that I see online, that I've seen online, that maybe I won't get the same reaction as I did on TikTok, but the support that I'll always know that I saw from people on TikTok, from people on Instagram, is just like, that's enough to keep me going. You know, that's just already the craziest. Like, I can't believe that people believe in my vision and my brand, and they like my sense of style and my clothing, my designs enough to support me. So again, that enough is to get me through all this crazy turmoil and all that stuff. There's so much stuff I could say about the brand, so much more stuff, so much stuff I left out probably that I wasn't even thinking about. It's just so much stuff in the future. It's just, like I said, it's just so all up in the air. I'm so ADHD squirrel brain about it. It's crazy. It's crazy right now, but I love it. And so, yeah, that will conclude today's YouTube video. I hope you found it helpful or informative or maybe just interesting. Again, let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer them or do another video on this, depending on what you guys want. So all I have to say, love you. I hope you enjoyed this week's YouTube video. Love you again. I forgot to do the little half heart for y'all. You know, I got to give you the half heart. Love y'all so much. I'll see you in the next one as always, and deuces.